this is Supervisor Ed Romaine, and you're watching Government at Work on Channel 18. I'll start the press conference by thanking you all for coming. This press conference is a very simple press conference. It deals with the STAR program, which is a state program to give people relief from their school property taxes for their primary residence. And this is, if you're participating in the STAR program, you can get up to almost $1,500, approximately $1,500, between STAR Basic and STAR Expanded. And I'm going to let our assessor address that in a minute. But here's what's been happening. People have been fraudulently applying for STAR. They have fraudulently applied for STAR because the homes that they are applying for aren't their primary residence. They are either vacation homes, but in most cases, they are rentals. They are renting them out. And in some cases, they're actually illegal rooming houses. We've brought enforcement action already against several in the Stony Brook area that are illegal rooming houses. We are going to be going through everything between our office and the county clerk's office and other government agencies to sort out who has applied for STAR that does not deserve it. The assessor can tell you what he can do, and I'm going to let him speak for himself. But essentially, he can go back and collect all the taxes that should have been paid. But if you've done this for a number of times, it's a felony. You're filing a false instrument with the state of New York. The state controller pointed out in 2010, 2011, New York State alone lost $13 million because of fraudulent filings by people whose primary residence they applied for STAR. It wasn't their primary residence. It was a rental or a vacation home, or in one case, an abandoned house. Tomorrow, we are tearing down an abandoned house at, what was the address in Shirley?
33 Ashwood.
33 Ashwood. That house has been abandoned for 5 years, and for 5 years the person has applied for STAR. That is not an owner-occupied house. That's just one example of what is replete with examples. This town is going to crack down. If we have to hire additional people to do that to help the assessor, we will do that. But we are going to send a very strong message, because everyone else who is entitled is paying their fair share. This hurts school districts. This deals with school district taxes. This is wrong. It's fraudulent, and people are claiming exemptions for houses that they're not entitled to. Now, before I let the elected officials speak, I do want to let the key man in the town of Brookhaven that is part of this effort, and that is our town assessor, Jim Ryan. Jim? Go through some of the details.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. To receive the STAR exemption, either the basic STAR exemption or the enhanced STAR exemption, the property owner is responsible to make an application with my office. If there's an intentional misstatement on that application, in that event, they subject themselves to the possibility of criminal prosecution. It's the responsibility of the property owner to advise us that the property is owner-occupied and it is their primary residence. And if any one of those circumstances changes, it is further their responsibility to notify the assessor that it has changed so that we can remove the exemption. The failure to remove the exemption or the intentional misstatement on the application subjects them to penalties that are outlined in the law. The first is that we will impose a $500 processing fee to remove the exemption. Another is that we can go back as far as 6 years to recapture any tax savings excuse me, that the property owner benefited by, notwithstanding that they were not entitled to that exemption.
And that will go to the school district.
Yes. Further, we are entitled to impose interest charges on that tax savings at a minimum of 12% a year. The property owner will be prohibited from receiving a star exemption for as long as 6 years into the future. And moreover, we're entitled to charge a penalty tax between $100 and $2,500 predicated on the savings realized by the property owner. At the direction of the supervisor and in cooperation with all departments in the town, the assessor's office is going to investigate and vigorously pursue all of these penalties to the maximum extent provided in law. Thank you.
Thank you. And we do have our chief investigator for the law department, Paul Deegan. His office is working on this. Obviously, we are looking at a whole host of houses, including those illegal rental houses in the Stony Brook and Setauket area where they've converted single-family homes illegally into rooming houses for students without permits in violation of the zoning code. And with that, I'm going to introduce Bruce Sanders, who's the president of the Stony Brook Concerned Homeowners.
First, I want to say thank you to Ed Romaine and the entire town of Brookhaven and board included. What we've been experiencing in Three Village area, and it's extending beyond Three Village, is we now have identified well over 270 boarding houses within the Three Village area. We know that's what we know about. We're happy to share our information with the town of Brookhaven, which includes Anthony DeRosa, who has gone out and pulled all the deeds on all these homes, so we can identify the owners, who they really are and where they are living at this point. So we're happy to be of assistance to the town of Brookhaven, and we thank them for everything they're doing to try to ward off this boarding house invasion in Stony Brook. Thank you.
With us today also is our deputy town attorney, Dave Moran. Dan, Dave, do you want to comment at all?
Just to expand on what Mr. Ryan said, as part of standard investigations into these housing issues within the town, one of the first things we check is the exemptions and the star exemptions. And we do have a protocol and procedures set up with the district attorney's office to forward those complaints. So above and beyond all the civil remedies available to our assessor, we do forward these, and we are working in conjunction with the district attorney's office in prosecuting these matters criminally.
Thank you. And while the Stony Brook matter is of grave concern because of the conversion of single-family homes to illegal rooming houses in violation of our zoning code. This is something that is happening town-wide in many of the communities. And with that, I'm going to ask three of our councilmen that are here today to speak about their areas and how this will help us address some of these landlords that are not adhering to all of our codes. And I'll start first with Dan Panico.
Well, the message should be clear to everyone in the town of Brookhaven, clear to those people who want to buy up homes and try to turn those homes for a profit, fill them up with people like sardines with no care for the residential community that surrounds them. The town of Brookhaven is going to find you. If you're taking a star exemption, the town of Brookhaven is going to prosecute you. We will recoup those monies and then some, as the assessor stated clearly. You're not going to be able to hide. It is 2015. We easily query all of the star exemptions. You're not going to hide behind a fictitious legal entity. We get all the certificates of incorporation from the Secretary of State's office. We will find you quickly. We will penalize you because we care about our neighborhoods. We care about quality of life. In an area that I represent in Mastic Shirley, a lot of people are coming in, buying up homes because they're very cheap. Don't think you're going to fly in the face of the law. Don't think you're going to get exemptions that you're not entitled to. This town is taking an unprecedented crackdown on quality of life issues and making sure people pay what they should pay justifiably. I commend the supervisor, the assessor, and the entire town board, joined by Councilwoman Constance
The
Keppert,
hardworking Councilwoman Keppert, just
who
coming from a meeting.
just came from a meeting. We are all united here today, and we're going to stand together on this issue. Thank you very much.
Okay. Sure. Councilman Foley.
Thank you,
Then
Supervisor
Bonner, and then
Keppert.
Kepler. This is just another example of the town working with the community to level the playing field. This is a big problem in the Patrick area, Medford area. So it's my job to go out there, working with the law department and the code enforcement and the supervisor's department and actually the accessories department to make sure we level the playing field so this problem is solved. So thank you.
Jane?
I guess every council person has a particular area in their council district where something like this exists on an extremely large scale. In my council district, it would probably be the communities of Rocky Point and Sound Beach, where the hilly sections have small houses on small lots that are perfect starter homes for young families raising a family and just starting out. But what's happened is that because they're so affordable, they're being scooped up by speculators, fixed up more often than not, because the law department and the investigators have been through a number of houses in these two communities without the proper permits, broken up into apartments, broken up into rooming houses, because we're a short 15-minute ride to Stony Brook University. Stony Brook is, and the Three Village community is certainly struggling on an unprecedented level with rooming houses. But the trickle-down effect spreads throughout Brookhaven. It really, really does. And I commend the supervisor. And this is really government doing what it does best and what it should be doing for the people, working cooperatively with all the other agencies within Brookhaven, outside of Brookhaven, government agencies and entities, and letting people know that we are here doing what we should be doing. And as we come into budget season for our school districts, wouldn't it be really nice if they had the actual money that they were deserved? So they wouldn't be really struggling with violating a tax cap mandate edict by the governor. If the school districts actually had the money that they were supposed to have by law, we would be in a very, very different budgetary process for all of our school districts. And we all know that those are the largest pieces of our tax bill, our school district taxes. So that's a win-win for every level of government. And I really commend Brookhaven and the supervisor's office for really stepping up to the forefront, trying to tackle this issue from every angle. Eventually, we're going to win. We're going to close up every loophole that the bad guys and the shirkers and the ones that feel like they can get over on everybody because they don't have to abide by the law. Eventually, we're gonna circle them, we're gonna round them up, and we're gonna let them know it's not happening anymore, not on our watch. So thank you.
And this is all about protecting our communities and making sure that everyone pays their fair share. And someone that works very hard for our communities is Connie Keppert, who's representing the 4th District.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. And I think Jane hit it on the head. I was a former teacher at Longwood High School for many, many years, and Longwood Junior High before that. And it is about protecting not only our taxpayers of the town of Brookhaven, but certainly the school districts who struggle to reduce cost and to provide a quality education for every student. So this is something that we need to close that loophole and to ensure that everybody pays their fair share. And I do want to thank the supervisor and the entire town board for moving this forward. Thanks.
Okay, I guess this is the point where we take any questions if there are questions. But clearly what we've laid out today is that we are enhancing our efforts to enforce the law to ensure that no one claims an exemption, a star exemption, that they're not entitled to. And this is particularly true for people who are renting out their facilities. People have abandoned houses. They are not owner-occupied. They are not entitled to this exemption. And everyone else has to make up the difference when they're not paying their fair share. And that's just not right.